My brand new YouTube Shorts channel made me $19,358 last month, and the craziest part is that I never showed my face. In just its second month, the channel pulled in nearly $20,000 in pure profit, and nobody knows I run it. Now, I want you to think about something before we get into this. You've probably watched someone your age succeed online and felt the quiet frustration of why it's not you. Not because you're not capable, not because you're lazy, but because nobody has actually pulled back the curtain and shown you what the system looks like underneath all the income screenshots and highlight reels. That gap between you and the people you're watching isn't talent or timing, it's a system. And that's exactly what this video is going to give you. My name is Ty, and after getting hundreds of millions of views across multiple channels, in this video, I'm going to show you the 7 things that actually made that possible so that you can copy exactly what works. Let's get straight into it. Before anything else, I want to kill the belief that's probably forming in your head, because it's what keeps most people stuck before they ever make their first video. The idea that YouTube Shorts are saturated and that you can't make real money with them anymore. This is completely false, because you see, YouTube is in active war with TikTok and Instagram for short form attention right now. And because they need shorts to win that war, they're promoting new channels harder, pushing fresh content further, and paying creators more per 1,000 views than they ever have before. That's why the RPM on Shorts has increased every single quarter for the last 3 years, and that trend is not slowing down. But when people say it's saturated, what they actually mean is that specific niches are becoming over-competitive. And here's what they always miss. New niches are also emerging every single week, and the creators who find them early are the ones printing the most money right now. The channel that made me almost 20 grand in a month was brand new. I wasn't even the first in the niche. All I did was find something my competition was doing wrong, improved on it, and built a system around it. The window didn't close, you just haven't found the right door yet. And the next thing I'm going to show you is exactly why most people never do. Most people who start a Shorts channel spend the majority of their time on production, obsessing over editing, captions, color grades, voiceover quality, and then they go to post it and wonder why the video is stuck at 300 views. So they spend even more time polishing the next one, assuming the production wasn't good enough. And this cycle continues with nothing changing. And eventually they quit and tell themselves, Shorts don't work. But the editing was never the problem. The idea was weak, and no amount of production quality will ever save a weak idea. Abraham Lincoln famously said that if he had 6 hours to chop down a tree, he'd spend the first 4 sharpening his axe. I call this the axe principle, and it's exactly how you should think about ideating YouTube Shorts. When you're planning content, the majority of your time should go into finding and validating the concept before anything else. You want to look for proof that the idea already works somewhere, because if the audience already exists, then your job is just to make a better version of something already proven to go viral. Get the idea right, and everything else becomes easier. But get it wrong, and nothing else matters. The people you're watching succeed aren't better scriptwriters or editors than you, they're just better at finding ideas, and that's a skill that you can learn. But a strong idea alone still isn't enough, because even the best concepts die in the first 3 seconds if you don't do this next thing right. Your hook is the first 2 or 3 seconds of your short, and it is the single most important part of the entire video. Not the middle, not the ending, the opening. Because that's the exact moment where your viewers decide whether they're staying or scrolling, and on Shorts, they make that decision instantly. What most people get wrong is thinking that the hook needs to be dramatic or clickbaity, and trust me when I say, it does not. All it needs to do is instantly create one question in the viewer's mind that they have to get the answer to. I call this the one question rule, and once you understand it, you'll never look at any short the same way again. One of my channels has a video with over 100 million views that made around $13,000 from a single upload. Now, I'm not saying that just to show off, but to prove that what I'm saying actually works. You see, the hook on that video is genuinely simple. A young sprinter is about to win a race when a child suddenly runs onto the track and blocks his lane. That's it. But the second you hear that, your brain is immediately asking, what happens next? Does he stop? Does he get disqualified? You physically cannot scroll because you need the answer. The rest of the video builds up the story, raising the stakes by introducing the risk of disqualification, and the payoff comes fast and clean. He kept running because he'd worked too hard to throw it all away. One clear question, answered fast. You could go to any viral YouTube short right now, and I can guarantee you that they follow the one question rule, whether the creator knows it or not. But creating that question and answering it means nothing if YouTube doesn't push the video to anyone, and that comes down to something most creators completely misunderstand. YouTube has one goal, which is keeping people on their platform as long as possible. That way they can show more ads and make more money. And the way the platform decides which shorts get pushed to millions of people and which ones get quietly buried comes down to two numbers: average view duration and viewer engagement. Not your subscriber count, not your posting frequency, and not the hashtags that you use. After you upload, YouTube shows your video to a small test group first and watches how they respond. If they're watching most of the video as well as liking, commenting, and subscribing, YouTube pushes it to a bigger group, then bigger again. That's how a video goes from 500 views to 500,000 to 50 million. It earns each level by passing the retention test at the previous one. I didn't fully understand this until I watched one of my own videos flatline at 400 views for 2 weeks and then suddenly explode overnight to 700,000. The early test group had strong retention data. YouTube just needed time to find the right audience for it, which is exactly what the next concept is about, because most people never give it that time. Okay, so you've got a strong idea, you've built a solid hook, and your retention is tight. You post a video and it sits at 300 views for 3 weeks and looks completely dead. So you assume it failed, you assume Shorts doesn't work, and you either quit or start over from scratch. And that's the mistake that ends most people's channels before they ever had a real chance. I'll be honest, I'm probably part of the reason this misconception exists. You see people posting online about channels going viral overnight and assume that's the standard. But it's not. I've had videos sit at a few hundred views for months with nothing happening at all, and then out of nowhere, they just start getting pushed again and end up at millions of views. This happens because YouTube doesn't just test your video once and move on. It retests videos over time with new audiences, especially when the early retention data was strong enough to suggest the content is genuinely good. This is why I treat the first 30 to 60 days of any new channel as the testing phase. Your job during that period isn't to go viral, it's to post consistently, study your analytics honestly, and keep improving every single upload. A good short doesn't expire. It just waits until YouTube figures out exactly who to show it to, and most people quit right before that moment arrives. And that's genuinely the only reason they don't see results with shorts. But staying consistent through the testing phase only works if you're approaching volume the right way. Volume beats perfection, and this goes against everything your instincts tell you when you first start making content. I used to spend hours obsessing over tiny details, tweaking subtitles, adjusting colors, redoing voiceovers because one word didn't sound exactly right. And those perfectly polished videos consistently underperformed the ones I made quickly, but with a strong idea and solid structure behind them. Some of my best performing shorts were made fast because the concept was undeniable, and that was enough to get them pushed to millions of people. But here's the thing about posting volume that nobody actually talks about. When you post more, you don't just give the algorithm more chances to find a winner. You learn faster. And this is what I call the data point method, because every video you post is a data point, and you start seeing patterns you'd never spot from a small sample size. For example, which hooks hold attention, differences between different audiences, which structures keep retention flat, and these are the patterns that become the repeatable system you scale from. The people you're seeing succeed didn't find a magic formula on their first try. They posted enough to figure out what works and then built a system around repeating it. And once you have that system, everything changes, which is exactly what this last concept is about. Now, systems are what separates the people who build consistent online income from the ones who quit after 2 months. And before I get into it, most people watching this video will do nothing with it. And that's the only reason they don't see results, because knowing the system and actually doing it are two completely different things. So if you want to work directly with me to build your own profitable faceless shorts channel, you can apply with the link in the description. And if you don't see any results within 90 days, you get your money back. Now, as I said earlier, when I first started, I was doing everything myself. Finding clips, writing scripts, editing, posting, analyzing performance, all of it. I was spending 6 or more hours a day on a single channel while going to school full time. And there's a hard ceiling on how far you can go operating this way because you only have so much time. So, as soon as I realized it wasn't sustainable, I started documenting my entire process and turning it into something repeatable. Clear workflows, SOPs, and instructions that other people could follow. Once I had that, I could bring in an editor while I stayed focused on ideas and strategy, then a scriptwriter, then some researching clips, and suddenly, instead of grinding 6 hours a day on one channel, I was spending 1 to 2 hours overseeing multiple channels with 4 times the content being uploaded every single day. This is what I call the asset model. A hustle depends on you showing up every day and doing everything yourself, but a business runs through systems that other people can plug into. And because your face is never in the content, the whole operation can run without you being the bottleneck. A faceless shorts channel built properly isn't just a source of income, it's an asset that generates money, scales beyond what you can do alone, and because it's not tied to your personal identity, it can eventually run without you entirely. And that's exactly what I'm building. And that's what's possible if you stop guessing and start building systems. So those are the 7 things I attribute my success to. And honestly, if you take anything from this video, it should be that the only thing standing between you and the results you're seeing other people get is actually starting and trusting the process long enough for it to work. If you want to learn directly from me, the link is on screen right now and in the description. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.